Hi, everybody. Father Scott Vanderveer here with an update to a parish ministry and a spiritual lesson that comes from it. As many of you know, our two parishes, St. Mary's in Coxsackie and St. Patrick's in Ravenna, have been making medical masks for the past 6 weeks or so. And they've become more important than ever now that our state has mandated their use at all times. But how about this? Our volunteer mask makers have in the past 6 weeks made over 1,000 of these masks. Over 1,000! So we cannot believe what that ingenuity and creativity and resourcefulness and generosity and dedication has brought about in our community. It's amazing to see. And they are making more masks every single day. Here's the story. Every time you go to our church, you are likely to find the box where the masks are kept empty with a sign at the bottom that says, "Still working to keep up with the demand, more masks coming soon." And that brings a great spiritual conundrum into this topic. When people are involved in ministry, they often find that the needs they're trying to meet are a little bit inexhaustible. Do you know what is interesting about us making over 1,000 masks for our community? When you look at the information on the size of the population of our two school districts, the Coxsackie-Athens School District, added together with the even larger Bravina-Queeman-Selkirk School District, you find that in our parish, there are 25,000 residents. So we've made over 1,000 masks, and that is meeting about 1/25 of the demand, about 3 to 4%. Isn't that so often the way? When you try to do a good thing, you realize that you'll never be able to catch up with the fullness of the demands, the total scope of the needs. I think anyone who's ever worked in social work or any of the helping professions, anybody who's ever tried to be one of those people to work hard to solve a problem, we find we can't. Almost all the problems that we try to address in ministry and in service are bigger than we are. Which brings up a story that you may have heard before, but even so is always worth hearing again. Do you remember the story about the young girl who was on the beach at dawn one day? And there was an older man who was also walking the beach and watched her as she walked along this incredible beach filled with starfish who had been brought in by the high tide. And those starfish would not be met by the tide again for hours. And by then, the sun would rise and they would be all dried out and baked up. So there was this little girl going starfish to starfish, flinging it into the water. The man went up to her and said, "What are you doing?" And she said, "I'm working on saving these starfish." And he said, "Sweetheart, there are thousands of starfish on this beach. You can never make a difference in doing this little bit of work." And she said, throwing a starfish into the water, "Made a difference to that one." And that is the story of ministry. We are not going to solve the problems that we try to tackle. They're bigger than we are. And that provides an opportunity for us to come in contact with a couple of different things. One is, we are not the Messiah. We are simply followers, disciples. We're ministers, not messiahs, as the poem says. So we must always recognize that our job is to sow the seeds, to try to plant the crops, to try to do what we can to help people. If someone wants to plant a tree, they can plant it today and they can know that it will give fruit in 20 years or so. It'll help to stop soil erosion, but it can't provide what most people think of trees doing, being a place for kids to climb and branches that are filled with fruit that we can eat, that's not going to happen for a generation. When we are trying to make as many masks as we possibly can, but all of our best efforts only bring about 3% of what is needed for every woman, man, and child in our community, we face our limitations. And it's an opportunity for us to embrace our humility. The problems that we face are huge. And coronavirus is one of those things that can never be managed by one person or one group of people. Obviously, it's going to take all of us working together. But that's when I think of a quote by Edward Everett Hale, one that I love and kept on my refrigerator for many years. And it says this: I cannot do everything, but I can do something. And because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do the something that I can do. So, do you have a sewing machine? Could you help us? If our group of sewers doubled, we would be making double the masks. And so perhaps there's a way that you could help us to go from meeting 3 to 4% of the need to meeting 6 to 8% of the need. Do you know someone who needs a mask? You can let them know about this ministry. Do you have money that you could donate for fabric? We would love that. Joanne Fabrics will donate enough fabric to help someone get 6 masks made. But 6 masks, when there are 25,000 people plus in our community, is like 6 starfish off the beach. Important, but think of how much more we could do if more people were there doing their little part. We're told by the coordinators of the ministry that one of the best things for people to do who don't have sewing machines, like me, just kidding, this is my friends. I don't have a sewing machine. But you can donate fabric supplies money. And you can do that by dropping off those things right in our open churches. It's especially helpful since money is a security issue if you get the fabric for us and then have it in bags that says fabric donation for masks. And then when our mask makers come and gather all the things that they need, when they come and deliver all of the newly made masks and then collect whatever has been brought in, they'll see your donation there, they'll see your gift, and they'll be able to put it to use. So this is an opportunity for us to not only make a difference, but learn a very important spiritual lesson along the way. So to all of you who are in our mask making ministry, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. I know that I benefit from what you've done for us every single day. For all those of you who have a sewing machine and haven't yet joined us, or maybe didn't know about it till now, we invite you to please call Joanne Fabrics and get enough fabric for 6 masks and start there, and then deliver them to either of our churches anytime between morning and evening time when the church is open. And if you are somebody who can't do those things, you might not have that skill, I think I fall in that camp, then you could donate fabric, money, time to help with this or some other ministry that is needed in our community. We can't do everything, but we can do something. And because we can't do everything, we will not refuse to do the something that we can do.